Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of VCTV. I'm your host, Kyle Ellicott. We've got a fun episode as we do every day for you here on VCTV. But today we're going to be talking about impact investing and social responsibility and what's happening in these spaces throughout the world as we've got some great investors who are joining us literally from all around the world today, which is super exciting to provide us different perspectives on how each of them are seeing and also investing in these spaces as well. Big thank you to the LATOKEN team and to Maria for making today's episode possible. If you haven't already, go check us out at latoken.com to hear from today's speakers and all speakers of the VCTV family as well. And with that, let's go ahead and introduce today's co-host. Gary Fowler, welcome back to the show. A little intro and a little background, please.
Yeah, great to be here, Kyle. Great to see some familiar faces. Hi, Fabio. And my name is Gary Fowler. I'm a serial entrepreneur and investor. I've done 17 companies, 2 unicorns. I was on the original management team at Click Software, sold to Salesforce for $1.35 billion 27 months ago, and also Eva.ai, an AI HR tech company that I founded with Dr. David Yang, Silicon Valley based. I'm the CEO, president, and co-founder of GSD Get Shit Done Venture Studios. We're a premier AI and quantum venture studio located in Santa Clara, California. We believe that intellectual capacity is evenly spread around the world. We curate some of the top AI and quantum companies, and our job is to help them become unicorns. So it's great to be here. Great to see you again, Kyle.
Wonderful. Thank you, Gary, as well. It's always a pleasure. Fabio, same to you. A little intro and a little background for everybody, please.
Yes, I'm an economist by training. I have a PhD from the University of Chicago. I started my career in the real world at the International Monetary Fund. Then I moved to the European Central Bank for the launch of the euro. And my next move was in the private sector. I joined Goldman Sachs in London, the research department. Subsequently, I started my, I changed completely and I went to the Arabian Peninsula to work for sovereign institutions and public institutions in Qatar, Dubai, and Oman, where I was for 8 years, the head of the strategy and chief economist for the Oman Investment Fund, which is a sovereign wealth fund. My latest incarnation is with an investment bank in New York, where I'm a partner, Golden Eagle, and we are specialized in raising funds for innovative startups, innovative companies, innovative grow-ups. And my last project, my latest project, is to raise money for a social impact fund in Italy and Europe. So that's in a nutshell who I am and where I'm going.
Wonderful. We're going to talk about that here in just a moment.
Absolutely.
Don't worry. But before we do, welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to have you. A little introduction and background as well, please.
Sure. So my name is Ophir Azuri. I'm from Israel. I'm representing a family office named Gandir, which is a family office that has 2 different arms of activity. One is around the philanthropic area, which is Gandir Foundation, treating with young adults mostly in Israel. And the other arm is the investment fund, in which I'm currently heading the entire investment of technology startups within the last 11 years, focusing on early stage investment, mostly software, ranging from companies that has done pretty well, Mobileye, for example, Yotpo, and an additional 20 companies. And throughout the last 5 years, focusing on the combination of tech investment and impact investing, trying to provide new models and employ very nice technology to improve what we are doing for the good and not only for the financial benefits. So we can continue discussion around that.
Wonderful. Let's actually dive right in that. So in terms of technology, what technologies are you looking at that would apply to, say, impact or social responsibility?
So, for example, a lot of digital health is within my deal flow. I did a couple of investments around that. One was Neutrino that started to do like maintaining the entire nutrition footprint, which is the specific daily food that you're eating. And based on AI, they actually predicted what you're gonna consume the next day, and they took it into diabetes and managed to reduce the fluctuation of the sugar consumption. So they were, after a year or so after doing that, they sold to Medtronic, and currently they're heading the entire diabetics area within the AI area. So this is one example. So a lot of software-related stuff that I'm doing, trying to provide the entire means for diversity, for areas that people and organization are not well deserved with their proper solution. So we can talk about that. After, another few examples after that.
I love it. Yeah, more examples, the better. Our audience here at VCT Levy loves hearing these and also just understanding more of the landscape. So we'll come back to that in just a moment. But Fabio, I'm coming to you. You have been on this show many a times and now are teasing out this new and exciting fund. So tell us a little bit, why now? Why are you pushing forward with this impact and fund as a new initiative, and why now here in 2021?
Essentially because here in Europe, the European Union and member states are launching what's called the Next Generation EU, which is a program of 750 billion euro, so more than $800 billion, which will focus on areas that pertain to impact investing, in particular decarbonization, Green Deal, digitalization, gender equality, and so on and so forth. So we think that there is a momentum in Europe where impact investing has been lagging, in particular in Italy, where I'm from. There are only a handful of projects which have raised at most $20 million. The reason for this lack of success relates mostly to the quality of the proposal and the background of people who have not been able to convey, how can I say, a compelling argument. So I have put together a team which is top-notch. I myself have developed fairly long experience in some areas of impact investment while I was the strategist, the chief strategist at the Oman Investment Fund. So given all this, we thought that this is the right time for such initiative on the old continent.
I love it. Thank you. And congratulations on that as well. And Gary, I want to come to you next. You have a fund focused on something similar in impact investing. Would you mind telling us a little bit about that? I know you've talked a little bit about it here on VCTV, but sure. I feel like now it's in the motion and would love to hear a little bit more as to why now.
Yeah, and we've moved in some directions on it too, Kyle. So we're working with the former mayor of Atlanta and Lamel McMorrison to build a $100 million impact fund, working with the Black urban community. So that's door number one, and we're really excited about that. The other thing that we're doing right now is we're actually spending time in Africa, in Nigeria, Kenya, Zambia, Ghana, because we believe that, you know, intellectual capacity is evenly spread around the world and opportunities aren't. So what we're looking for is we're looking for those earlier stage machine learning, AI companies, and also quantum companies. And people say, well, geez, why would you go to Africa to look for those kind of companies? Well, because there's incredible talent located in places like Nigeria. You know, most people don't realize there are 1.2 billion people in the African continent. And just in Nigeria alone, there are about 206 million people. and the kind of technologies, the kind of curation that's taken place there is incredible. So we're focused on making a dent, a dent in the universe. And I'm not saying it lightly. We're not just talking about it, Kyle. We're actually going back down. I'll be in Kenya in the middle of June timeframe and Nigeria to meet with entrepreneurs down there and some companies that are just, doing an incredible job. And I like it when they're dealing with, fintech to be able to get money out to the right people at the right place at the right time, because they didn't have the kind of infrastructure that we have in the developed world. They're really skipping some phases and actually going to the next level. So really exciting times. And, we work a lot with female entrepreneurs. We have actually, I'm really proud of one of my startups, Primu. So Tuli, if you're listening, she's from East Africa. She's a Zulu, and they're one of our portfolio companies, and she's doing an incredible job. So, let's go out, let's make a little dent in the universe, and let's try to see what we can do to make people happy and create a sustainable, interesting environment for us all.
Awesome. I love it. And Gary, I want to come back to you real quick. Artificial intelligence, since we're talking about impact and social responsibility, but maybe more on the impact side, where is AI playing a role in this? I mean, if I'm an entrepreneur thinking about, initiative that I'm very, very, very excited about, I want to apply artificial intelligence. Where and how is that working from your view? I mean, you focus so much in this area. Where should I be thinking about as an entrepreneur now around artificial intelligence and impact investing?
How everywhere.
It's a big, I know, everywhere. It's a big question.
I mean, the thing is, think about it. I've talked about this many times. There's 40 zettabytes of data on the planet Earth today. And if you took CDs or DVDs and stacked them one on top of another, go 29 times between the Earth and the Moon. It's grown about 67.8% per year. We're inundated. We're in a state of infobesity. Think about us here on the panels. Each one of us has 300,000 items in the personal cloud. The entire web in 96 was 257,000 websites. Think about how many times a week. We're all smart. I mean, Fabio's got a PhD, but I'm sure he's going down through the same thing. How many times every week do you say to yourself, somebody says, "Hey, Fabio, I sent you a message. Where did you send it?" "I sent it to your email." "Which one?" And then you say, "I didn't get it. Can you resend it again?" Why? Because we can't even look. We can't even sift through our own email. It's insane. The number of items is 300,000 today. In 5 years, it'll be 10 million with the Internet of Things. We need to have artificial intelligence, unsupervised AI, to help us filter through the massive amounts of data that we have coming at us. And we're going to have two parts of society: the people that understand data and can have not smart but intelligent assistants to be able to help us. But that's where the world is going very, very quickly across. So I invest in space tech, and I see it there. I have a health tech company that does remote patient monitoring. She's from Stanford. I see it there. Why? We got an aging population. Data, right? So supply chain. I was on a panel this morning talking about supply chain. As you and I have talked about it many, many times. We need insight into supply chain because we still, in places like India and Brazil, are having a real pain with the pandemic, and we understand our shortcomings. So I don't know of any, I literally don't know of any industry that couldn't use artificial intelligence, whether it's sustainability, water purification, manufacturing, robotics, smart cities. It's there because we are inundated. Infobesity.
It's wild. It's like you said, it's everywhere. And if I see you smiling, I feel like you've got something to add, especially on the digital health side of remote monitoring. I'm going to turn it over to you. Tell us a little bit more about what you're seeing either in digital health, or open it up and tell us a little bit more around impact and social responsibility.
Yeah, first, I really like the infobesity, but more than that, regarding the remote monitoring, another example of a company that I'm invested in, it's about remote therapeutic. A lot of accessibility are prevented when you're doing one-on-one on a physical location, but due to the COVID-19, a lot of sessions have been able to do remotely. And today, there are several therapeutic sessions that have been done only remotely without even noticing or knowing exactly the therapist in advance. And they are doing it together over Zoom or any other service. And now this is the merit of AI, a lot of different information that can be collected and gain insight about the activity, about the different therapy elements that are being used, and again, about the efficacy of the treatment. This is for the first time. They don't need to just write down on a notepad the summary of the session. They can come back to the system, and one of the companies that I invested, named Ilios Health, is doing exactly that, interpreted the entire session, knows exactly the insight of the session, how efficient you were in the session, were the patient stressed, or any kind of additional metrics or therapeutic area that has been spawned throughout the session. And then it can be also automatically summarized without the need to the notepad. So a lot of different applications can be done today and really, really help the accessibility and the efficacy of the service.
And with that being said, what's coming next? So you're seeing a ton of deal flow. You're seeing a ton in this space in general, as you're mentioning. What's coming next? What do people need to be aware of if they're investing in this space right now? Or if we're going to start with you.
So actually, impact investing, I think, going to be much more streamlined. Today, there's a lot of different initiative around that, but some of it is it's a little bit greenwashing. I believe the most important thing to prevent any greenwashing in this area is the measurement. If you decide to invest in a company and you got the right teams, I call the VIP teams, meaning that first, they have the right values in place. Second, they have the right intent. And the last, they have the right plan. If they have all that, they just need to start and measure the key success factors for the impact. And then you can easily invest in these guys and make sure they achieve their own success factors. So this is basically how I see how to approach. And then I think it's going to be more streamlined because, for example, ESG is a notion that has been really got some cool backwind during the last year or so. So a lot of financial investment are ESG related that's done much more than the regular ones. This is for the companies that already been on the stock market. But now the ESG is going to be much more relevant as the new DNA for private companies. This is what's going to be next, I think. A lot of ESG elements within how you treat your workers, how you treat your suppliers, how you treat your environment and the governance of the company, going to be the major goal in which each and every company, private company, tech companies, will start to maintain and make sure they're going to comply with that and make sure they're going to get the right workers to work with them. Because if you don't have the values inside, a lot of Gen Z guys will not come work for you. So I think ESG is very, very important.
Agreed. Fabio, to you, same question. What should people be aware of as you're modeling out this fund right now and putting this together? Looking ahead, I mean, what are you getting excited about that's coming down the pipe that other investors should be aware of as well?
But I think that the key element of impact investment is the measurement, the metrics that one adopts to verify the impact. Now, often people mistake impact investment with philanthropy, charity, or other similar activities. But the whole concept of impact investment is to combine financial returns with social objectives, with improvement in the livelihood of people. Both need to be measured in order to understand the trade-off. So you might give up 1 or 2 percentage points in terms of financial returns in exchange for the improvement in the lives of people. I think, by the way, personally think that in terms of financial returns, you don't need to be too shy. In other words, you can still make market return or returns that are typical, normal for your risk tolerance, and yet be able to deliver something that society will appreciate, something that will beneficial for society. So if you wish, I see impact investment as a way to select among the hundreds of thousands of investment or proposals that a typical VC of private equity fund receives every year. The discipline that fund managers need to be subject to, however, has to be predefined, and that's why I was mentioning the metrics, so the real measurement of impact as a key feature of impact investment, or if you wish, you want to add the social responsibility framework. And that's where we are doing, we're developing a lot of methodologies in order to be simple, effective, and accountable in our investment activity.
Gary, same question to you. I mean, I know quantum's going to come up. I know AI is going to come up, but what else? As you were teasing a little bit about, remote monitoring and assistance, what other areas do you see around impact that could be very, opportunistic here in the next year and a half, as investors and entrepreneurs are looking maybe how to understand this landscape and where to begin if they're just now looking to get into it? And not that, they should just because, but also maybe they have a cause or something they're focused on and they want to know where to best start.
Yeah, so I mean, today we have about 800 million people on the planet that are food insecure. And, one of the challenges we have with the increased population by the year 2050, going up from 8 billion to 9 billion, is going to double the amount of requirements. It's not linear in terms of the amount of food that's going to be required. At the same time, we've got global warming that's putting a lot of pressure, and we have to dramatically relook at where we can have our agricultural fields, et cetera. So then we look at to the end of this century. At the end of this century, there'll be a population of planet 13 billion. So we need to go down through, and from an impact perspective, what I would be looking about is, again, keep it simple, stupid. I'm a country boy from Pennsylvania. What I would do is I would look at things like the Internet of Things, because having those data points is really important for us. But more importantly, having the artificial intelligence to look at it from wherever it is critically important. But especially look at the things like climate change, look at farming 4.0, self-driving tractors, those kind of things that make an impact. The other thing is job creation. Kyle, one of the things we do, and I'm really adamant about, we're going down to Africa for a reason. One is, it's not about entitlement. It's about creating jobs, creating opportunities for folks. And one of the things that we see, and I've seen this many, many times through my accelerators, through companies that I've been able to build, I've seen once you give people jobs and they can start to help their families, everything starts to change, and people are resilient. Once you show them their ways like artificial intelligence and quantum and these emerging technologies, they can go out and help their families and at the same time have an impact in their own environments. So we're bullish about it. Our company's GST gets you done for a reason, because we're out there doing it. And if I'm an investor, I would look at things like, semi-supervised and companies that have semi-supervised, unsupervised AI. Quantum computing, as you know, it's 100 million times faster than a supercomputer putting in perspective what would take 10,000 years in a supercomputer takes 200 seconds on a quantum. And again, it's dependent on what kind of tasks, et cetera, but it's growing very, very quickly. And by the way, quantum computers are now starting to be in use and were used for drug discovery during the pandemic with AI. So I would look at that. I mean, we want to live longer. You want to have an impact. Sometimes we forget about the elderly. We forget about the aging population in the developed world. You know, it's almost like in some places, you know, we cold storage them. We got to figure out how we can make people's lives better, how we can live longer. And the technologies like remote patient monitoring, so people can stay in their homes, so they can live longer and a better quality of life, are really important. You know, at the same time, I do want to say that, you know, we believe that there are 3 elements to building teams. And for those investors out there, I would think seriously about it. One is intergenerational teams, because if you have the Gen Xers, it's great. But if they don't have the credibility and the contacts, it's not good. And I would look at having intergenerational teams. So you have the people with the gray hair. At the same time, you got the, you know, Gen X, Gen Z, millennials out there that can really be part of the team and help it out. At the same time, you need cultural diversity, and you want to make sure you have females on the team. You need to have blended teams. Everybody can contribute, and it's proven that when you have culturally diverse teams, those teams happen to be much more successful. The other thing is decentralization. If you have a company and you can get your programming done, development done, and places that are much less expensive but create jobs, it's a good thing. So look at how you can really maximize the efficiencies of your company. Look for those resources wherever they are. We use Silicon Valley as a port to the rest of the world because Silicon Valley is a place where investors from all over the world come, entrepreneurs from all over the come, and a lot of interesting ideas are generated that can impact the planet. So investors, you know, just to open your eyes and think a little differently.
Thank you very much, Gary. This is great, and I think with that, I'm going to come to you for any other closing thoughts. But where can everyone find you? Because that was the perfect way to summarize today's topic. But where can everyone find you if they want to connect more before we go to everyone else?
Sure. You can reach me, Gary Fowler, on LinkedIn. You can reach me on Twitter. I have a show, and I have some incredible speakers that have come on. In fact, check out last week. I had one of the top quantum physicists from Harvard and MIT on. And we were talking about the things like the teleportation of quantum particles and quantum's impact on our lives. Reach out to me. You can reach through email, but LinkedIn's the best. Appreciate it. Stay happy, stay healthy, and go get them.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Gary. Fabio, closing thoughts to you as well. And then also, where can everyone find you in this new fund of yours that you're putting together to learn more?
Yeah, we're starting the fundraising soon. Again, we want to be different from everybody else because we will be defining clearly what are our objectives and metrics. You can find me on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Twitter, under my last name. I'm also on any other social network you might think of, Instagram, even the more exotic ones like Xing or Crossing. So certainly you, but just by Googling my last name, you'll have enough information, more than you want.
Thank you, Fabio. Or same to you. Any closing thoughts that people need to be aware of when it comes to building around impact and social responsibility? And then where can they, of course, find you and your fund as well?
Sure. So basically, as I said, I think that it's a new era, and the new era is, again, as Fabio mentioned, around measurement and doing not just best effort, but really based on results. We can do really good, and there are different models that Stripe today, and they're doing really good. There are income share agreement. There are other ones So I think the future is really bright, and as measurement will be increasing in use cases and the value, I think we'll be on the safe side to get much more impact investing online. You can find me, Ophir Azuri, on LinkedIn. That will be the easier part. You can check Gandir Investments also online. Check it out. We'll be happy to connect with anyone, and good luck to all of us.
Wonderful. Thank you all very much for sharing your thoughts and insights today. Really appreciate it. Looking forward to continuing this conversation and how each of your funds are developing, with 3 new funds and exciting ones coming here on today's panel. To our audience, thank you so much for tuning in. If you like what you heard, make sure you click subscribe, share, and like today's episode. Also, check out the archive on LATOKEN.com to hear from today's speakers and all speakers of the VCTV family. And also make sure you reach out to each and every one of our co-hosts today to connect with them to learn more, but make sure you add context, where you heard them, where you met them, and what you would like to continue the conversation about, as we'd all love to hear from you and connect and discuss further on today's topic and many others as well. A big thank you to the LATOKEN team and to Maria for making today's episode possible. I'm your host, Kyle Ellicott. You can find me, again, with all of our co-hosts online 24/7, 365. Everyone have a wonderful day. We'll see you back here in a little bit with more VCTV. Take care, everybody.
Cheers.
Bye, everybody.